Today, we're diving deep into graphene and how it's being used with AI to, completely change the way we make things.
It's pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, and imagine like a factory where the materials are smart enough to, tell you what's going on.
Like they can talk.
Yeah, that's the future that graphene could unlock.
It could.
We've got some really awesome research on this from the National Library of Medicine and some great articles about how AI and nanotechnology are, coming together.
Yeah.
So get ready to dive in.
It's an exciting time to be talking about graphene. It's this
Yeah.
super thin material, just one atom thick, made entirely of carbon atoms arranged in a honeycomb pattern.
Like a beehive?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly lightweight, but it's also stronger than steel and conducts electricity better than copper.
Wow.
It's like the superhero of materials.
It really is. That's what I love about graphene.
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing how something so simple can be so powerful.
Right.
It's like finding out your pencil lead has superpowers.
Mm.
But, I've also heard that graphene has faced some challenges in actually being used to make things.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's been one of the hurdles with graphene. It's been tough to produce on a large scale at a cost that makes sense for companies to use it everywhere.
Okay.
It's like having a band with all the talent in the world, but they can't get a record deal.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
potential's there, but bridging the gap between the hype and the reality has taken time.
It makes sense. So how is graphene, making its way from the lab to the factory floor? You mentioned smart factory earlier. What's the connection?
Well, think of it this way. We're used to sensors being separate gadgets, right?
Yeah.
But with graphene, the material itself can become the sensor.
Whoa.
By embedding graphene into materials like the ones used to make car parts or airplane wings, we can give these materials the ability to sense things like pressure, temperature, and even tiny cracks forming.
So cool.
It's like giving them a voice to tell us what's happening inside.
It's like the materials are talking to us.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, it's getting a bit too hot over here, or ouch, I think I'm starting to crack.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But how does this talking actually help in making things?
Well, imagine you're baking a cake, right?
Okay.
You can tell if it's done by looking at the color and maybe poking it with a toothpick.
Right.
But what if the cake itself could tell you exactly when it was perfectly baked based on its internal temperature and moisture level?
That would be pretty cool.
Exactly. That's what graphene sensors can do for manufacturing.
Whoa.
They provide real-time information about what's happening inside the materials, allowing manufacturers to make adjustments on the fly.
So it's all about getting feedback during the process to prevent things from going wrong or to fine-tune things for better results.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I read about how researchers are using graphene-coated fabrics to monitor resin transfer molding.
Yeah.
Can you explain that process and how graphene is changing the game?
Sure. Resin transfer molding is kind of like making a super detailed Jell-O mold, but with high-tech materials. You inject liquid resin into a mold, let it harden, and voila, you have a part.
I got it.
But things can go wrong. The resin might not flow evenly, leaving air bubbles or dry spots, which weakens the part.
Okay, yeah.
Now imagine you could put a thin graphene-coated fabric inside the mold.
Okay.
This fabric acts as a sensor, telling you exactly how the resin is flowing in real time.
Interesting.
It's like having an X-ray vision for your mold.
So no more guessing or relying on visual inspections after the fact.
Right.
That's a huge step forward in quality control.
It is.
With graphene sensors, manufacturers can catch problems before they become major defects.
Exactly. And not just preventing problems, but also making the process more efficient.
Okay.
The data from the sensors can help fine-tune the resin injection pressure, the temperature, and how long it takes for the resin to harden,
Makes sense.
leading to stronger, more consistent parts.
Okay, so we've got these super sensitive graphene sensors embedded in our materials, giving us tons of data. But I'm guessing there's too much information for a human to process quickly enough to make real-time adjustments.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
That's where AI comes in, specifically machine learning.
Okay.
It's like having a super smart assistant who can analyze all that data in real time.
Yeah.
AI can take the changes in graphene's electrical resistance, its language, if you will, and translate it into meaningful information that humans can understand and act on.
So AI is like the interpreter for our talking materials.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Right.
What are some specific ways AI is being used to analyze this data from graphene sensors?
Well, one important application is in calibrating the sensors.
Okay.
Remember how graphene's resistance changes based on things like pressure and temperature?
Uh,
AI helps us figure out the exact relationship between those changes and what we want to measure.
okay.
It's like teaching the AI the language of graphene so it can accurately translate the data.
That's really cool. So we're not just getting like raw data,
Yep.
but information that's calibrated and meaningful. What else can AI do with this data?
AI is incredibly good at spotting anomalies.
Oh,
Tiny hiccups in the process that could lead to big problems down the line.
touchy.
Remember that resin flow example?
Yeah.
AI can detect subtle changes in the data that might indicate something like resin race tracking, which is when the resin flows too quickly through one part of the mold and leaves other areas dry.
Oh, wow.
It's like AI is watching a video of the resin flowing and can tell you if it's doing something funky.
It sounds like AI is like a detective,
Yeah,
looking for clues in the data that could point to a potential problem.
it is.
That's amazing. Are there any other ways AI is being used in this smart factory scenario?
This is where it gets really futuristic.
Oh, awesome.
AI can actually be used to predict potential failures before they even happen.
Really?
By looking at the real-time data from the graphene sensors, AI algorithms can identify patterns that suggest a part might be developing a weakness or a machine is about to malfunction.
That's incredible.
It's like having a crystal ball for your factory.
Wow. Self-reporting materials and an AI that can predict the future. That's mind-blowing. What else could you possibly add to this high-tech mix?
Well, there's one more piece of this puzzle that's crucial for building trust and transparency in this new world of smart manufacturing.
Okay.
Blockchain.
Okay, I know blockchain is the technology behind Bitcoin, but how does it fit into the world of manufacturing?
That's a great question. Remember all that valuable data coming from our graphene sensors?
Yeah.
Blockchain comes in as the ultimate record keeper.
Oh.
It creates a super secure and tamper-proof record of all that data, so we have a trusted history of the entire manufacturing process from the raw materials to the finished product.
So it's like a digital fingerprint for every step of the process that can't be forged.
Exactly. And this is a game changer for things like knowing where your materials come from, tracking quality control, and even preventing counterfeiting.
Got it.
Imagine being able to trace every single component of an airplane,
Wow.
from the moment the raw materials were mined to when it rolls off the assembly line. You'd know exactly where everything came from, how it was processed, and whether it met all the quality standards.
That would be huge.
It would?
It's like having a complete and verifiable history for every product, which would be incredibly valuable for industries like aerospace, automotive, and even healthcare, where safety and reliability are paramount.
Absolutely.
But we've only scratched the surface of how graphene is changing manufacturing. I'm especially curious about this metaverse of manufacturing you mentioned earlier. What does
Yeah.
it even mean?
Well, that's a whole other fascinating dimension of this story. Are you ready to step into the virtual world?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Especially when it involves something as cool as graphene.
All right.
Let's dive into that in part 2 of our deep dive.
All right, so picture this. You put on a VR headset, and suddenly you're standing inside a virtual version of a factory.
Okay.
You can see all the machines, the materials flowing through the production line, even tiny graphene sensors embedded in the parts.
That's pretty cool.
That's the metaverse of manufacturing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm starting to get the picture. But what's the point of having a virtual copy of a factory? Can't you just walk into the real one?
It's not just about having a virtual tour, though. That's definitely cool.
Okay.
The real magic happens when we create a digital twin of the factory. Remember how we talked about all that real-time data from the graphene sensors?
Yeah.
That data gets fed into the digital twin.
Interesting.
So it's constantly mirroring what's happening in the real factory.
So it's like a living, breathing simulation of the factory, but in a digital world where I can like fly around and see everything.
You got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But what can you actually do with a digital twin? What's the real value?
Think of it like this. Imagine you're a chef trying out a new recipe.
Okay.
Instead of potentially ruining a batch of cookies in your real kitchen, you could test it out in a virtual kitchen first.
Right.
You could change the oven temperature, adjust the ingredients, and see how it all affects the final product without any real-world consequences.
Okay.
That's what a digital twin allows you to do for manufacturing.
So it's like a giant virtual sandbox for manufacturers.
Exactly. They can experiment with different ideas without any risk. I can see how that would be incredibly valuable for trying out new designs or optimizing production processes.
Yeah, and for example, let's say a car company is designing a new lighter car door.
Okay.
They could create a digital twin of the door and the manufacturing process, then use it to simulate how different materials and designs perform under stress.
Okay.
They could even test out new ways to manufacture the door, like using a 3D printer all in the digital world before they make any physical changes.
That's wild. It's like taking the measure twice, cut once philosophy to a whole new level.
Right.
But beyond experimenting with designs, what other benefits does a digital twin offer?
Well, since the digital twin is constantly receiving real-time data from the physical factory, it allows manufacturers to see exactly what's happening at every stage of the process.
Okay.
This can help them identify bottlenecks where things are slowing down, optimize the flow of materials and energy, and even run simulations to see how changes in one part of the factory might affect other parts. It's like having X-ray vision for your entire factory.
Yeah.
You can see how everything is working from the big picture down to the smallest detail.
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand how this combination of graphene sensors, AI, and digital twins could really revolutionize the way we make things.
And here's the really exciting part. This virtual environment also opens up amazing possibilities for collaboration.
Okay.
Imagine engineers from different parts of the world working together in the digital twin, brainstorming ideas, solving problems, and refining designs in real time, as if they were all in the same room.
No more expensive business trips or video calls with lag.
Exactly.
That's a huge win for productivity and global collaboration.
Yeah.
But beyond making manufacturing more efficient, are there any broader impacts that this technology could have?
Absolutely. Think about sustainability.
Yeah.
By optimizing production processes and reducing waste-smart factories, powered by graphene and AI, could have a significant positive impact on the environment. We could use fewer resources, generate less pollution, and create products that are designed to last longer and be recycled more easily.
That's a future I can get behind. Less waste, less pollution, and more durable products.
Right.
It sounds like a win-win for both industry and the planet.
And don't forget about the potential for creating completely new materials and products. With the ability to manipulate materials at the atomic level, we could create things with properties we've never seen before.
Like what?
Imagine fabrics that can change color on demand, self-healing coatings for buildings and cars, or even biocompatible materials that can be used to grow new organs.
Whoa, you're really painting a picture of a future where materials are not just static things, but dynamic and responsive to our needs.
Exactly.
It's almost like giving materials a sense of intelligence.
It is.
But with all these incredible possibilities, there must be some challenges too, right?
Of course. Implementing these technologies on a large scale will require significant investment and expertise. And then there are the social and ethical considerations, things like data privacy, cybersecurity, and the potential impact on jobs.
Right.
These are complex issues that we need to address thoughtfully as we move forward.
Yeah, those are important points. We can't just focus on the shiny new technology without thinking about the potential downsides. It's crucial to have open and honest conversations about these issues so we can ensure that these innovations benefit everyone.
Yeah.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're still in the early stages of exploring the possibilities of graphene and AI in manufacturing. Where do you see this technology going in the next few years? What are some of the key trends to watch?
Well, one thing's for sure, this field is moving fast. Researchers are constantly developing new ways to produce and use graphene, and AI is getting smarter every day.
So stay tuned because things are about to get even more interesting in part 3 of our deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been exploring, the amazing world of graphene and how it's you're going to like revolutionize manufacturing.
It's going to be huge.
Like from those self-reporting materials we talked about to those AI-powered factories in the metaverse.
It really has been quite a journey.
It has. We've gone from like the tiny atomic structure of graphene all the way to like imagining these factories that can predict when they're going to break down.
It's pretty wild.
But, I'm curious about how this is all going to like, affect the stuff we use every day.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
Like, how is it going to change things?
Oh, yeah. Think about like the products you use every day.
Okay.
Cars, airplanes, smartphones, even your clothes.
Yeah.
All of these could be made better, stronger, and more sustainable with the help of graphene and AI.
So we're talking about like, lighter, more fuel-efficient airplanes.
Yeah.
Wind turbines that generate more energy.
Absolutely.
And maybe even like personalized medical devices that are tailored to your specific needs.
Exactly. And because these smart factories will be more efficient and produce less waste, it could even have a positive impact on the environment as well.
That's awesome.
We could see a future where the things we buy are not only better, but also have a smaller environmental footprint.
That's a future I think a lot of people would get behind.
Yeah.
More innovative products and a healthier planet.
Yeah.
I'm in. But, we got to talk about some of the challenges too.
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned earlier those concerns about data privacy
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
yeah, how this might affect people's jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't just, assume all of these advancements are going to be positive for everyone.
Right.
As we gather more and more data from these smart factories,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that data is being used responsibly.
Of course.
And that people's privacy is protected.
Absolutely.
We need to have clear guidelines and regulations in place
Makes sense.
to ensure that this technology is used ethically.
And what about the impact on jobs? A lot of people are worried that automation and AI are going to lead to, lots of people losing their jobs.
Yeah.
So how do we make sure that everyone benefits from this technology?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And it's one we need to be thinking about right now, not later. We need to invest in education and retraining programs
Okay.
to prepare workers for the jobs of the future.
That makes sense.
And we need to ensure that the economic benefits of this technology are distributed fairly.
Yeah.
This isn't just a technological challenge, it's a societal one.
Absolutely. So it's about more than just like making things more efficiently.
Yes.
It's about shaping a future where these technologies are used to, benefit everyone.
Absolutely. We need to be proactive in thinking about the potential consequences of these advancements.
Right.
And work together to create a future where everyone benefits.
It sounds like we're at a really, important moment.
We are.
Like we have these amazingly powerful tools.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to how we use them.
It does.
That's going to decide what kind of future we create.
Yeah.
It's both exciting and a little bit scary.
It is, but I'm optimistic.
No.
I think if we approach these challenges with foresight and a commitment to collaboration, we can harness these technologies to create a better world for ourselves and for, future generations.
Absolutely. So what does this all mean for you, our listener? I hope this deep dive into graphene has sparked your curiosity and maybe even inspired you to think about the role you want to play in shaping this technological revolution.
If materials can now talk to us, what kind of conversations do you want to have? How do you see this technology being used to solve problems and create a better future? Those are great questions to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible world of graphene.
It's been fun.